Welcome to In the Funnel. My name is Mark Cox. In the Funnel is a group of sales coaches and consultants that help B2B sales teams dramatically improve revenue. Clients come to us when revenue growth is stagnated, or their sales team is not meeting expectations, or they need to recalibrate their sales and go-to-market plan for the upcoming year. Our clients have enjoyed tremendous success working within the funnel, and please hear it straight from them by listening to the testimonial section of this website. What they'll tell you is there's two things that make us unique and different in our space. Number one, we have a process and a methodology. First, for understanding your current state, and then second, for building your sales and go-to-market plan for the upcoming year. The second thing that makes us unique and different is that everybody within the funnel has run a material sales organization in their recent past. We're all practitioners. We don't have any theorists or teachers, and what that means is we can get in front of your sales team and run the next sales meeting, or join them on their next sales call to close your next large prospect. All of us have a passion for professional, disciplined, process-driven sales, and we'd be delighted to talk to you if you're looking to grow revenue for your company. Please feel free to reach out to us through this website at info@inthefunnel.com or by telephone. Thanks for taking the time to watch this.
It's all about focus and discipline. And you think about it, regardless of what you do, it's focus and discipline. But here's what your ultimate goal is: to influence and impact people in a positive manner. If every day you can wake up and you say, I'm going to go out and influence and impact people in a positive manner, you know what? You're going to make a huge difference. And you know what's also going to happen? People are going to influence and impact you. And that's going to make it a great day. That's what having a mind for sales is all about.
Team, that was Mark Hunter. He's known as the Sales Hunter, and he's a speaker, a consultant, and a best-selling author. He's also globally recognized as one of the top 50 most influential sales and marketing leaders in the world. What a great guest. Mark's the author of 3 best-selling books. He started with High Profit Selling, then he went to High Profit Prospecting, and today we talk about his latest book, A Mind for Sales: Daily Habits and Practical Strategies for Sales Success. And by the way, that's exactly what's in the book. This is a great read. You know, it touches on a number of different things, but one of the great formulas that you often hear about in sales is mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals results. And the foreword to his book by Anthony Iannarino changes that formula. It says skill set plus tool set times mindset equals success in sales. It just talks about how important and what a multiplier the right mindset can be in professional sales. And Mark's got a lot of great approaches and strategies that really help us. These are things you're going to be able to apply today, and we talk about some of them. One of the things we do a very deep dive on, he's got a 10-step game plan for managing your week, and I just think it's terrific. Almost every step in that category is very, very helpful. We talk a lot about how many salespeople get a very slow start to the week, almost avoiding Monday as a productive day. And we talk about the impact of that and the impact of getting a slow start on the week and the importance of getting a good jump in the middle of the day. Lots of fantastic information in today's podcast. Just another great conversation, really about the importance of fundamentals. And one of the constant themes that you'll receive from our discussion with Mark is how important it is to just focus on a mindset of helping the customer rather than a mindset of helping ourselves sell more. We just want to go into every discussion figuring out how we can help that client move forward in a better place. I really enjoyed my conversation today with Mark. I think you're going to enjoy this one too. And if you do, please like and subscribe to the Selling Well podcast. Here's Mark Hunter. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for joining the Selling Well podcast. I'm so thrilled to have you here.
Hey, I'm glad to be with you. This is great because, you know, with a person's, name of Mark, and I'm Mark, we won't know who we're talking to if we say, hey, Mark, what do you think of this, right?
Well, I'm not known as the hunter. I
Okay.
don't have the same brand equity that you've got in our marketplace.
Okay.
So I think we can certainly clarify that. Mark, so I've been following you, as many of the people on this podcast will know, I've been following you for years and years and enjoyed lots of the books that you put out, High Profit Selling, High Profit Prospecting. But the one we're going to talk about today, I think, is so interesting given everything that's going on. A Mind for Sales, Daily Habits and Practical Strategies for Sales Success. And I think it's such a great guide for those exact things. Habits and practical strategies. But at the start of the book, Mark, you've got a great story of how you ended up in professional sales. Tell us a little bit about your journey and start in professional sales.
Well, you always hear these salespeople say, well, they start off at the age of 2 and they were selling something. I did not want to go. I did not want to go into sales at all.
Wow.
Sales was the last thing I really wanted to do. And I wanted to be a disc jockey, but that doesn't,
You've got a voice for it, by the way.
You're listening to the Mindy Night. No, anyway. I ultimately said, I'm going to get a degree in marketing because that'd be kind of cool, fun, that kind of cool, kind of neat, so forth. And I was all set to do that until really last semester of my senior year, when I got 3 speeding tickets, actually 4 speeding tickets, because one was a double ticket in the course of about 8 weeks. And, I didn't know that driving 55 and a 30 would really cause a police officer to notice. So anyway,
they don't like that.
Yeah. It's just something about that. So anyway, it was no big deal. I paid the tickets, which was, wow, I'm in college. I'm not responsible for my actions, but I did pay the tickets. and I thought that was it. But the problem was my insurance company didn't think that was it. And they didn't drop me. They just invited me into their high risk pool, which means your insurance payments are now far greater than your monthly car payment and your apartment rent. I basically couldn't afford all 3. I mean, that is how I wound up in sales. So I had to get a job that supplied me with a company car. Because again, I couldn't afford the car, insurance, and apartment. So I figured if I get a job that supplies me with a company car, I eliminate car payment and I eliminate insurance. Hey, this is great. That's how I wound up in sales. And I was so good, I got fired from that first sales job.
I read that.
Yeah. So I got a second sales job, second car, second Buick. This is dating me now. Okay. And I was so good in that job, I got fired from that job also.
And here we are.
And here we are today. Yes.
I was just going to say, X number of years later, you're now listed as one of the top 50 most influential sales thought leaders in the world. What happened?
Well,
what changed?
I'd like to say I drank the Kool-Aid. No, what happened was I was actually on my third sales job, third company car. And I'll never forget, because my boss's boss called me into his office, and I still remember the day very well. I really thought I was going to get fired from that job too.
Oh boy.
And he sat me down and he had a long conversation with it. And it basically came down to this. He said, do you think you're making an impact with your customers? Do you think you understand your customers? He was just, because up to that point in time, I just go take the order, get the commission, and get out. It was, I was treating customers as if they were bowling pins. It was my job to knock them down, get their money, and run. And he quickly pulled me aside, said, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. And it isn't like that was a revolutionary moment where suddenly the skies opened up and angels sang and I was now a sales expert. No. But that began the journey. That began the journey of me really beginning to understand what sales is all about. It's about listening to customers. It's about understanding where they're coming. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. And if what you offer doesn't help them achieve something, gain something, prevent something, do something for them, they don't want it. So that was the kind of the evolution, but it wasn't overnight, because like I said, it took years.
Well, I think that core point, Mark, it's so interesting the way you present it, but that core point is still not taking hold across the board in professional sales today, as I'm sure you know far better than me.
It isn't, because I see too many organizations. They may be publicly traded, so they got quarterly earnings they got to report, or they may have monthly sales numbers they got to report. And suddenly you get down to the end of the month, you get down to the end of the quarter, and it's panic time. It's full on, and it doesn't matter. We're going to jam this down the customer's throat. I still see that time and time again. But I take a step back and I go, wait a minute, if we play the long game,
Right.
we win. But sales and its competitive nature doesn't really embrace the long game. And that's a disconnect in our mindset, total disconnect in our mindset.
Well, I think, those folks, and you and I have also come across these ones who have been successful repeatedly in professional sales. That absolutely is the mindset that they have. It's the customer first mindset. And frankly, not only does it provide a better result, but I think it also provides far more enjoyment in terms of a career if that's how you go at this.
Yes,
I'm
it
trying-
does. And I want to run with that for just a second. I'm sorry to kind of
Please jump in.
because you know what it comes down to? It comes down to your pipeline. See, if you stop and think about this, when I see salespeople who are in a panic at the end of the quarter, at the end, they have a very empty pipeline.
They do.
There's a lot of other words we could use to describe it, but very much in the cupboard. Okay. And the salesperson, on the other hand, who has a full pipeline and has a methodical process, it's amazing how they can come into month end, quarter end, year end, whatever. And it's just another day. It's just, and they roll through. Pipeline. The quality of your pipeline impacts your mindset more than you ever realize, but it's your mindset that drives your pipeline. And because again, what I'll see happening is people who, wow, they got some great customers that are going to close, and business is really good. So they stop prospecting.
I know.
Right. And then suddenly a month or a few weeks later, they wake up and they go, ah, there's nothing there. And they begin freaking out because their pipeline's empty. So then they start prospecting, and then they get, and it's just peak and valley. You want to mess up your mindset? Go from peak to valley, peak to valley. I mean, wow, that really messes up your mindset real quick.
Well, that's why I think there's, the daily habits and the weekly habits and these strategies for having a little bit of that balance, because your clients and prospects don't want to be dealing with people who are full of anxiety. They actually want someone who's calm but confident, energized but confident. And so that leads with everything you've done, Mark. I mean, you're one of the top people in the world in terms of folks following what you say. What drove this focus with the latest book, A Mind for Sales? Why was mindset the primary topic of this one?
Well, that's a great, I love that, because my first book was High Profit Selling, which was how to maximize the price.
Mm-hmm.
And when I wrote that book, I thought, okay, I'm done. And then people said, wait, I'm still not doing this right. And I go, well, because you're not prospecting the right people. So then I wrote High Profit Prospecting, which is all about your ideal customer profile. And then I thought, okay, I'm done. Then people go, oh, I still can't do it. Well, it's the mindset. So really what I was doing was I was doing the Star Wars thing, where you kind of work your act, in time. And because the whole mindset thing is this: if I can know what I need to do. And again, I was talking to a salesperson yesterday. He knows what he needs to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's done it, but his mindset is not there.
Mm.
And if your mindset's not there, it's not going to come through, because you use the word anxiety and anxious, and customers smell that.
Of course they do.
Customers feel it. I mean, if you're desperate, man, they feel. I had a purchasing agent, VP of purchasing for a major company, tell me one time, he said, I instruct all my buyers to look at the salesperson when they're presenting a price increase. And if they can't give them eye contact, use a solid voice, and have good body language, we know there's a discount to be had. Think about that. Think about that. This is what the other side of the desk is saying. See, the other side of the desk has figured out salespeople. And we wonder why salespeople struggle. Because we broadcast, I'm struggling, when we don't have the right mindset.
Well, software certainly did that, didn't we?
You and I, when we were in the green room, we were talking about that whole, time in the software industry. Wow, crazy business.
I do it now. It sounds terrible to be on the other side, but for our business within the funnel, I'm always asking salespeople when their quarter end and when their year end is. And so before we're going to make that, the sales stack has got 5,000 things in it now. So before we make that next purchase, I'll actually realize that I'm going to get 3 calls and I'm going to be in their funnel and it's going to go up the chain and they will sell, their graduation ring to actually get us to sign at 7:30 on the last day of the quarter.
It is amazing. I had a buyer tell me one time, she said, Mark, I know, she bought consumables. And so she was always buying from the same companies all the time. And she said, I know, and every one of you have your year end.
Yeah.
Because there are some of you that I will stop buying from. And I may need the product, but I just stop buying from because I wait until the last day of their fiscal year. Then I'll get a call from their vice president of sales with an unbelievable deal. You're right. Giving up the college ring, giving up their firstborn child, giving up everything. Then I know I've got the best, lowest price.
Mark, the last one we did was last Halloween. The story was last Halloween. And when I was getting the calls on a Friday, and I got a call from a certain level as I went into the gym at 6:00 at night. And then I got a call while I was in the change room, 7:30. And in the end, the fellow who was really good, and he knows what I do for a living. He goes, Mark, you've told me 3 times. If I had anything else to give, I would give it. I have nowhere else to give. So he kind of came clean. And that's the other thing, Mark, you talked about, they can smell your anxiety, buyers and other people. The other thing I think is probably this almost sixth sense for all of us is we can sense someone's intent.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, your writing is so important and your customer focused writing is so important, because I think when salespeople actually do bridge that gap and cross that bridge to say, every conversation is about helping my client achieve a better business outcome, I actually think buyers sense that intent.
They really do. And this is why, again, so many salespeople think every sales call is about closing the deal.
Right.
No, it's not. It's about just moving the relationship forward. And this is why I'm on a mission. I hate the term closing the sale. I want to say it's opening the relationship. We're opening think about that right there. Just changes the mindset. Closing the deal. I want to close the deal. Then I'm going to move on. I'm going to forget about you and I'm going to move on. Opening the relationship changes, I think, how we look at the customer. And I think opens up the door for a tremendous amount of additional opportunities further down the road.
So Mark, let's jump into the book here a little bit, if you wouldn't mind. And again, one of the things that's so important when we do the Selling Well podcast, we're actually trying to make sure that, the folks who invest half an hour with us leave with exactly what we talked about: habits, strategies, game plans. And that's why I really love this book so much. A Mind for Sales, Daily Habits and Practical Strategies for Sales Success. Right at the start, we're thinking about planning for the week, and we're thinking about Mondays. And boy, do you have a kind of a bugaboo about how salespeople address Mondays. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I do, because so many salespeople waste Mondays because what they do. This is the way this goes. Salesperson gets up on a Monday morning and says, "Well, nobody wants to talk to a salesperson on a Monday morning.
Right.
I need to kind of get organized for the week. So they sit there and they putz around all Monday morning. And maybe they have that staff meeting, there's that sales meeting, whatever it might be, but it just winds up being busted play morning. And what happens then, you kind of ease into Monday afternoon, and suddenly you've wasted 20% of the week.
Right.
Now, this is what makes it even worse, because the person who wastes Monday morning is wasting Friday, because they're also, oh, you know what? Friday, I got to get caught up on paperwork. I got to take care of this. And, Fridays, Friday afternoon, especially, especially in the summer, nobody wants to talk to you. So there's no sense in making calls. So now what happens is I see salespeople, they've sat there and they've wasted 40% of the week.
Right.
Well, okay, then let me just go ahead and run the math here on this. Can I deduct your paycheck by 40? Can I lower your paycheck by 40%? Is that okay? Because that's all you're giving the company. You're only giving the company 3 days a week because you're in sales. You're not in administration. You're not in, paper pushing. Now, let's go back to Monday mornings, because this is so key. If I start the week off right, it's amazing at how much better I am, because I'm enthused, I'm excited. So I'm going to take Sunday night and I'm going to lay out, what are my objectives? What are my goals for the week? Yes, I'm going to do that Sunday night. So then when I get up Monday morning, and you have to have a routine, you've got to have a routine. And if you stay in this routine, it's amazing how things then begin to happen, because there's a consistency, there's a discipline. In the book, I talk about the pizza rule. I talk about, it comes from the movie Tommy Boy. We won't bother to go.
Love the movie.
Love the movie. It's one of the best sales movies ever, but there's a scene in there regarding the diner. So now I've got people already laughing because they're thinking about the movie. But anyway, from that, it's a piece. And I didn't even put this in the book, but it's what I call the 10 a.m. rule. The 10 a.m. rule. And I love the 10 a.m. rule. What this means is, whenever I'm speaking in front of an audience, I always say, take out your phones right now. And I want you to set an alarm for 10 a.m. Every morning. Because what you want to do is by 10 a.m., and this especially applies on Monday mornings, you want to have accomplished something significant. Now, here's why. If I can accomplish something significant by 10 a.m., man, I feel good. I'm jazzed. I'm like hugging myself. I'm going, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Now, this is what's interesting. It actually begins to excite me and motivates me. And guess what? I am motivated and jacked to get even more done throughout the day and throughout the week. If, however, suddenly at 10:01 or 10:15, I get a phone call from boss man or boss lady, and they like rip into me, and the day just goes to pot. Hey, you know what? At least I still had a good day.
Right.
Got something significant. So many salespeople, what they do is they want to ease into the day. They ease into the week. And I say, no, attack it. Own the week. Own the week. Own the day. And you do that by Sunday night, taking time to set that up. And then Monday morning, you're going very specifically into that routine. And here's something you want to be thinking about. If you know you can help someone, you have an obligation to reach out to them. Now, stop and think about what that means. So many people are, well, I just don't know if they want to talk to me. I just, you know what, they're probably busy. And they put off making these phone calls. I go, hold it. If you know you can help this company because this company fits into the profile, or this person fits in the profile of people who you can help, you owe it to them to reach out to them. And if you don't reach out to them, you're actually doing them a disservice. And you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not living up to the role and responsibility of who you are and what you're supposed to be doing. So to me, that's just a quick mindset shift. And it's not a quick mindset shift, but once you make that mindset shift, it changes everything about how and why you want to be reaching out to people.
Well, there's the power of your mindset.
It is. Yeah.
I thought, Mark, I thought Anthony Iannarino did such a nice job in the foreword to your book, where he said there had been this thing, gang, out there for 25 years hey, in sales, I need a mindset, skill set, and tool set. Mindset plus skill set plus tool set equals performance. And Anthony came back and said, you know what, after having processed this book and through some learning, I realized that's not the formula. It's skill set plus tool set times mindset, because mindset is really the multiplier.
It is. Yes.
And all of us know that, Mark. I mean, we've seen that in performance sports. A couple of guests we've had on the podcast over the last little while, NHL player, whose claim to fame is, number one, a spectacular career in the NHL, 12 years. Number two, he's the shortest player to ever have played in the NHL since 1939. So 5'4". So just talking, and by the way, in the conversation for an hour, his height never came into any conversation whatsoever. But the power of mindset, Nathan Gerby, just a wonderful, wonderful guy. But the power of mindset, which is why I just think this book now is so very important in professional sales team. And that I'd like to push, if I could, a little more here, Mark, on the 10-step game plan in a sec. But just a quick note. You said, don't waste the Monday. And this really jumped out at me in the book. Don't waste the Monday. And I started to think about, I'm a hockey fan. Of course, I'm a hockey fanatic. I'm Canadian. I played reasonably okay hockey at a certain level. We didn't start the first period of the hockey game in the corner watching video and strategizing on what to do with their best players. We did that the previous week, okay, after practice for 7 days. When the game started, all we talked about was get out of the gate fast, particularly if we were playing an away game and, there might have been a bit of a crowd there. We go get out of the gate first, get a fast start. And I love, I'm sure somebody you're familiar with, I love Dan Pink's book, When.
Yes.
It talks about all of his books also, just like all of your books, but it really talks about the science of the importance of getting a fast start. The other thing I always try and remember is generally, most people are better in the morning. Generally, the vast majority of people feel better in the morning. Let's have our conversations with them then. Before the day has drained them, let's have our conversation. They get hit with challenges throughout the day, but at 8 a.m, everything looks pretty shiny.
Spot on. I mean, I will have some of the best conversations early in the morning with people. And so many salespeople, no, I can't buy, because see, this is the whole thing. They feel like, well, they're interrupting, they're intruding, they're making, and really what it is they really just don't want to make the call.
Right.
In fact, it's always funny that the people, we're talking about the telephone here for a bit, and talk about people who say, oh, the telephone doesn't work. The telephone doesn't work. The people who say the telephone doesn't work are the ones who are afraid to pick up the phone.
Yeah. Complete malarkey.
Right. That's what I contend. And this morning I made a call, and it's funny. I started to write an email to the person. I go, wait, why don't I just pick up the phone call?
Mm-hmm.
And I call, and it was very interesting because I had one question I wanted to ask, but then he wound up sharing some additional information. And then it wound up that we got a very clear next step out of it. I never would have had that. I mean, I could have had that in an email, but it would have taken probably a week to get there. But here, because of a 5-minute phone call, I was able to move this forward much faster. That's the power of the telephone. Now, he may not have picked up. He may not have answered. I totally get that. And it would have gotten a voicemail. Then I could revert and leave a voicemail and send an email. Fine. But at least I tried. And again, this is where mindset has to drive you. And the mindset drives you to engage. When you were playing hockey, when the puck is dropped, it's game on. It's game on. You're not sitting in the corner, right? And you got to come out fast. And that's what so many salespeople miss out. They just don't want to get in the game.
And in that environment too, Mark, if I'm at all questioning what I can do, and again, the folks here, I was not fantastic, but I was a goalie and played for, prep school hockey. My belief was I was stopping every shot that came at me in a given game. My belief was I was better than anybody else who's shooting on me. The second I start to believe, and by the way, I went through periods like this, maybe I'm not that good. Actually, you know what? Maybe I just don't. I'll tell you what, that guy's got a fantastic shot. He was in the net before I knew it hit me.
Yes. Yes.
And so at a certain level in that kind of league, everybody's got the same skill, or a reasonable zone of skill. It's all in your head. It's the mindset.
It totally is in your head. This is where I say the mindset you have going into the call predetermines the outcome you'll get coming out of it. I mean, the mindset, when I hear people, and this is the difference between average performers and top performers. And you can even take this outside of sales. You can take this to anything. Top performers will go into any conversation. We'll say a top performing salesperson, regardless of any conversation. And they're going to say there's something to learn here. There's something I can learn here. The average and low performer says, oh, there's nothing to learn here. They're going to look at their calling list. They're going to look at, there's nothing, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. The top performer goes in and says, hey, you know what? There's something here. There's something here. And as a result, they listen better. They question better. And they're in the game. And that is probably one of the biggest differences between the top performer and the average performer. And there's a reason why, and I'm using average performers, and I really should be saying low performers. There's a reason low performers stay low performers, because that's the attitude they take to everything. I had a person call me the other day. He was told to call me because he wouldn't call me otherwise. He was told by his boss to call me. And he was saying, our leads suck. I mean, that was quote unquote, our leads suck. And we went through the list, and I said, why do you say that? Well, they just do. He was just predetermining.
Yes.
So we spent a few minutes. We worked on a couple scripts, worked on a couple talking points. And I said, okay, go out and call. And he actually did wind up having a couple of conversations. Now, where they go, I don't know. But we got to just start moving that mindset, because his mindset was, well, if marketing would give us good leads and we could close sales, all you're doing is making excuses. And that's another thing about mindset. When you have the right mindset, you don't make excuses. You do not make excuses. You figure out a way. The best example of this, I'm going to go back. We talked about hockey for a second. Let's talk about football.
There we go.
In the Super Bowl a few years ago was the Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. And the Atlanta Falcons went in at halftime with a huge lead. And Tom Brady, the quarterback, Bill Belichick, the coach, they could have said, game over. But no, they came out. And they came out with the mindset that we're going to win this game. And they did win the game. And the Atlanta Falcons looked at it and said, what happened?
I remember that so specifically. Mark, I was in a restaurant in Naples, Florida with my wife while that game was being played. And so then we went back to the lobby of the hotel. And when you're watching, I'm no football expert, but when you're watching a game like that, it feels like and the Patriots both know they're going to win the game.
Right. Because you could just feel it. You could feel it. And here you are watching on television, but it's crazy.
Don't you sense that?
Yes.
Same thing happens in all sports, that, if you're deep in the sport, you understand it. You go, that team might be winning 4-1 in hockey, but you go, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
We've lived that in Toronto,
against
Boston.
Here you go. We could have a few discussions there on that one. Yeah. But you're right, because you begin to get this feeling that it's not going to work. We're going to lose. And suddenly what happens is the deal slips away. And again, it comes back to the mindset.
It does.
Because the mindset, Tom Brady did not go in and say, okay, we're going to have one play and suddenly we're going to win the Super Bowl. No, it was a whole series of activities, whole series of plays that had to be run, and it was just one step after another. And see, again, this is the difference between top performers and low performers. Top performers know their results come due to the activities they do.
Right.
And they stay in the game to do the activities. And the low performer just wants to, oh, can I just go out and buy a lotto ticket and suddenly we'll get the deal closed? No, it doesn't happen that way.
Well, Mark, obviously we've got mostly, high performers who would listen to this podcast, or else they wouldn't invest their time. They'd be doing other things. I'd love to touch on, if you wouldn't mind, and team, when you buy a Mind for Sales, and you should, what I think you're really going to love is right at the start, one of the first 3 or 4 chapters is we talk about the 10-step game plan for managing your week. And I'm always big on practical experience that somebody can apply today and tomorrow. And this 10-step game plan is crystal clear, simple, but powerful. And I'd love to speak to a couple of them, if you wouldn't mind, Mark.
Yep.
One I love, which was, as we're planning for our week, step number 5, recap success.
Yes. See this is all about. What does success look like to you? What has success looked like for you last week? I always say what I want to do is I want to end the week looking back on the week and saying, what was the most successful thing? You may have had a lousy week, but maybe you had one phone call that worked. You hug yourself, go, yeah, it's great. Because when you wrap yourself in success, it is amazing at how it changes your mindset. Because again, if you dwell on the negative, here's a perfect example as to why you have to wrap yourself in success. NASCAR. Okay. These are cars that go at a couple 100 miles an hour, around and around and around in circles. One of the things that drivers do is they never look at the wall. The wall at the top of the bank, they never look at the wall. Because when you look at the wall, guess what? You wind up steering to the wall. Think about that for a moment. You see, your mindset has to always be on the successful play. This is why top performers, they have a successful phone call. They don't sit there and say, hey, it's time to celebrate. Let's go out to lunch. No, they immediately keep going. Because they know success creates success. That's why I firmly believe in that particular step in the list of 10.
Well, I also think what I really love about it, Mark, I'll show you a sheet you can see, and some of the people watching video.
Oh yeah, I love it. But notes.
I like to, on a daily basis, when I'm having my coffee, Mark's having a coffee right now, when I'm having my coffee, very early in the morning, I like to just pause and think about some of the great things that have happened. And particularly as an entrepreneur and somebody who runs multiple sales teams at one time, I think you can forget all of these fantastic things that happen in a given day or a given week. And just reminding yourselves of those things really gives us a bit of a springboard to say, I'm excited about today. I'm excited about next week, because more of this green stuff, I use a green pen based on the way I'm wired. More of this green stuff is actually going to happen.
It does. You just write that down. That's why I also say, also tell salespeople, take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, write down the names of your 10 best customers. On the right-hand side, write down the outcomes you created for them. Not what you sold them, the outcomes. And then you go, wow, I really made a difference. I really impacted these. And that's going to jazz you. And it's also going to keep you focused that, if you created these outcomes in those customers, guess what? I think I'm going to focus in on creating more of those outcomes with more customers. Yeah.
Fantastic. Front of mind. Point number 6 from our 10-step game plan for a fantastic week. 10 minutes quiet preparation.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that one.
Absolutely imperative. You just got to stop the motor and just do nothing. For me, I'm a person of faith. I spend time on my Bible. I spend time praying. But it's just stopping the motor, and it might be reflecting on your family. It might be reflecting on friends. It can be whatever you choose, whatever you choose. But it's just that 10 minutes. And what it does is I think it begins to just reset, recalibrate. You can almost call it kind of yoga without the yoga. Okay? You know, you're just stop. And when you do that, it's amazing how you come out. It really is the same thing as like when you go on vacation. If you go on vacation and you unplug, you come back from vacation and you're kind of jazzed. You're kind of jazzed to get going, right?
Sure, you are.
Yeah. And it's the same thing.
I do a little bit of, it sounds silly, Peloton meditation.
Peloton meditation. I love that. That's cool. That's neat. That's neat.
Peloton's got a little meditation one for beginners like me, and just
Neat.
breathing and all that great stuff. It just puts me in a different frame of mind.
Neat. Mine is, strapping on the shoes and going out for a run. So
Beautiful.
but I can do that because I live here in Texas, and up there it's a little bit hard to go out and run in the middle of winter. So
Middle of winter, a bit trickier.
that's right.
Although people do it. but
I
a
know
little bit
people do it. Bless their soul, man. I'm not one of them. I lived for a while in Minnesota, and it's cold. Yeah.
This one, that you can never overestimate the power of gratitude. That's why I loved point number 7 so much. Start your day. Thank 3 people.
You really do. This is a team sport. This isn't a solo activity. And you really got to take the time just to sit there and say, who am I thankful for? Who's been able to bring me this far? Who have I been able to help? And again, it's just one of those mindset shifts that begins to frame you up. Because now what you're going to do is you're going to go into the day saying, how can I help someone? How can I help someone? And when you go into the day saying, I'm going to help people, again, it changes your questions. It changes how you listen. And you begin to realize that there's a lot more potential of what you have to offer than you realize. I see this time and time again. Yesterday, I was at lunch with a person who I had not seen in probably 3 or 4 years. And she was asking me some questions. And I was asking her some questions. And she got done and said, oh, wow, this is just, thank you. Thank you for lunch. And I said, really? What? Oh, you just got my head spinning. And I said, tell me more. And she said, and I said, well, I have to admit, you got my head spinning too, because you gave me a couple of ideas. And she said, I did. Yeah, you did. Because again, we're both trying to help when you go into a conversation, trying to help people, it's amazing the results that come out of it. That's why I'm also a firm believer in mastermind groups. I'm part of a mastermind group with 3 other people, and we are extremely close. We share ideas, we dialogue, we discuss. We're always challenging each other, but again, because it's a team sport. And as a result, we're lifting each other up. That's what sales is all about.
By that way, it's a pretty good mastermind, right? Jeb Blunt, Mike Weinberg, and Anthony Iannarino.
Yeah, and actually, I've got another one now. Right. So there's another mastermind group that I think has almost surpassed that one. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it is. It's just, and again, this comes back to who do you hang out with? Jim Rohn years ago made the comment, you become the sum of the 5 people you associate with the most.
Right.
And it's so true. You become the sum of the 5 people you associate with. Top performing people hang out with top performing people. Guess what? It lifts them up. You always have to surround yourself with top performing aspirational people. Because what happens, it just moves everybody up the food chain.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
Completely agree. So after today, Mark, everybody's going to want to associate themselves with you. So they're going to go and buy a Mind for Sales team. That's going to be something you'll thank me for introducing you to that today. So go and buy a Mind for Sales because it's going to help. But Mark, how do we learn more about you and the Sales Hunter?
Yeah, well, the best way is just go to the website, thesaleshunter.com. People always ask me, what was your name before you changed? I've always been Mark Hunter. But thesaleshunter.com. And of course, you can follow me on LinkedIn. We put a lot of video, we put a lot of content out there, always interacting with people. But I suggest the best place is thesaleshunter.com. And yes, by all means, pick up the book. I'm on a mission. How do we help salespeople become the successful people they know they can be?
Well, what a great mission. And one of the things that's just such a privilege for me, Mark, is when I run these podcasts, I just get to learn from spectacular folks like yourself. And I was looking forward to today. I read High Profit Prospecting maybe 10 years ago originally. And when we book these in, I do the quick read of every guest's book. And, it's tough in this day and age when there's so many sales books out there to hear something unique and different, or help us zone in on that really important aspect of selling.
Yeah.
Mindset is that one. And it was such a great refresher for me. It's such a delight to meet you today. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Can I leave the audience with just a couple of ideas?
Please.
Let me share. It's all about focus and discipline. And you think about it, regardless of what you do, it's focus and discipline. But here's what your ultimate goal is: to influence and impact people in a positive manner. If every day you can wake up and you say, I'm going to go out and influence and impact people in a positive manner, you know what? You're going to make a huge difference. And you know what's also going to happen? People are going to influence and impact you. And that's going to make it a great day. That's what having a mind for sales is all about.
There's nothing we can add to that. That'll be the introductory clip as well. Thank you, Thomas. Again, Mark, thank you so much, for impacting us today in a positive way. And team, I just want to say a very sincere thank you to everybody who's taken time out of your busy days to listen to today's episode. As you know, we're growth oriented here, and we want to hear from you in terms of what's working with a podcast like this, but also how can we improve it to make it more effective for you. You can send your comments, and we love constructive criticism, to Mark Cox at inthefunnel.com, Mark Cox at inthefunnel.com. That's my email that I check. And I'll say, you'll know I've checked it because I'm going to send you a nice thank you for giving us the feedback. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like and subscribe to the Selling Well podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.